Okay, so we're going into Four Seasons movements, and we are drawing from the body structure movement theory, in the sense that the Dantian movement is the origin, and so also Taiji ball theory, where the internal ball manifests the external ball. Essentially, if we were using Western thought and lexicon, we would say that we're moving from the center. So we're going to first establish the center and establish the movement of the center, in the sense that it's an engine that sustains. Regardless of what movement is done, the movement will originate from the Dantian. So we're going to explore this idea with a few of the movements from the Four Seasons Qigong. First, starting with all seasons set, regulating lower burner, middle burner, and upper burner. So we're sitting down. We're connected to the chair or couch, or whatever you're sitting on. You could even be sitting cross-legged on the floor. So first we feel the posture, we feel the spine, feel maybe the sitting bones or the tailbone, the thighs, all the way up to into the pelvic structure, lower back, middle back, upper back, neck, and head. And so if we posture up, erect the spine, we feel ourselves erect, spine elongated, chin slightly tucked in. We feel the opening of the spine bow, lengthening and erecting of the spine, having an ascending energy. And then we relax the spine, let the spine sort of give to gravity. There's a descending energy, there's a closing of the spine bow. And so the energy of ascension originates in the sitting bones, lower dantian, lower back, middle, upper, finally up to the neck and head, where we have the erect posture again. And then if we relax the spine to gravity, feel that descending energy and the descending movement in the body, in the torso, and then engaging from the lower burner, an ascending movement or energy from the tailbone and sitting bones, lower back, upper back, middle back, neck and head. And so if we seize control of this movement and this cyclical pattern, then we can create a Qigong movement and exercise from that. Apply the breath cycles as well. And so when we inhale, we'll be erecting the spine. Movement will be coming from the tailbone, middle, lower, middle, upper back. Inhaling and exhaling. And this begins our engine, which sustains and will be the source of all the movements that we will do in the session. So movement is simply restricted to the torso here. As we've begun, we're regulating essentially the lower and the middle burner, even the upper burner. When we say we're regulating or we want to regulate upper burner, we want to include the chest bow. So when we do that, we start animating the shoulders, the shoulder girdles. So those begin to now circle and follow the pattern set by the dantian. Simply allowing the shoulders to move with the momentum of the spine. This would be another example of 2 is 1 and 1 is 2, where shoulders are connected to the dantian, 2 separate and seemingly different places, yet in function, moving as one. To be more specific, one leads, the other follows. So now you should be animating the shoulders to be circling back, slightly up and forward and down with the dantian. Engaging the dantian at the abdominal muscles, opening and closing the lower back, Mingmen area, and maybe even the pelvic floor as well. Simple, regular abdominal breathing. Let's go ahead and in the sitting position, stick with the same movement, and we're going to manifest the arms to go ahead and go through the windlass posture and movement. So we're going to start picking up the arms themselves, the structural components and the joint systems and bones via the soft tissue in these areas. Shoulders are already engaged. Now start to get a sense with your mind what the path is going to be from the shoulders down the arms to the elbows and wrists and fingers. Yet we're not fully engaging these joints yet. Staying consistent, slow, smooth, and continuous with the lower, middle, and upper burner regulation. And keeping the breath coordinated with the movement. Now start to include the elbows, relaxing the hands down in the lap, including shoulders and elbows. Trying to sustain and maintain, monitoring, modulating the connection from dantian through spine and torso to shoulders and elbows. Keeping those integrated, moving as one. Now let's move the mind to the next point of focus. That's going to be the wrists. From Dantian, we go through the spine and torso, shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Nice and slow, smooth, continuous. Feeling free to track the mind as you inhale, prepare the spine and torso, opening the spine, moving through shoulder, elbow, and wrist, exhaling to reset. Now start to animate the arms so that the hands start to move away from the legs. Creating the hand posture for windlass. Go ahead and lifting the hands up off of the lap, off the legs. And then maybe they rest at some point as well. As you ascend and rise, so do the hands, and then maybe they rest at some point on the legs. And at some point, the arms and hands are fully engaged such that the hands maintain separation from the legs. So we're currently doing yang circles here. Monitoring the movement, ensuring that the energy and movement begin in the Dantian. Maintaining the mind at the Dantian, at the source. And of course, you're free to track the movement from Dantian to shoulder, elbow, wrist, and hand. Yet also still return the Dantian for the next repetition. We're going to start to add rotation now. What we'll do is we're going to drop the yang circle and we're going to add rotation so that we can draw circles from moving from this vertical plane that we're utilizing here. And now I'm going to draw circles in the horizontal plane. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and transition the Dantian. From the Dantian, begin a sideways rotation. Extend the arms, and circle back to the center, pass through center to circle to the other side. And from Dantian again, rotate, bring the hands in, extend the hands, rotate again to draw your large circle, arms extended, rotating to the other side, and again, bringing the hands in, inhaling, and exhaling, drawing circles horizontal, parallel to the ground. Important thing here is that the movement is originated and sustained by the Dantian. Try to keep that connection and keep that source, keep that engine so that the Dantian is directing. At some point also, I'd like you to change the direction. And when you change the direction, initiate that change from the Dantian first. It helps to have the hands close at the center. So I'm going to initiate my change when I bring my hands in at the center, and I'm simply going to rotate to the opposite direction, now drawing circles in the opposite direction. There's malleability, flexibility in the body, and at each major junction point, like the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. So there's a little bit of lag, whereas the Dantian moves first, and there's a slight pull of the arms, and they catch the movement. There's a momentum of the arms, and then the Dantian initiates movement to the opposite side, feeling the change in that movement from shoulders, elbows to wrists and hands, and the cycle continues. So we've done the vertical plane, horizontal plane, drawing these circles. We're going to go ahead and let the arms and hands rest down at the lap again. Staying connected to the Dantian, that engine as such, and then bringing that engine to a little bit of a rest. When you come back to center, you connect back to the movement that draws the circles in the vertical plane. You connect back to that movement that sustains the spinal wave. You connect back to the abdominal rolling and abdominal expansion and contraction that follows the deep abdominal breathing. So we're going to do some movements from the Four Seasons set. Four Seasons Qigong that is going to help to exemplify and also help to regulate and reinforce these two planes of movement and the Dantian's connection in the vertical plane and the horizontal plane. So we're going to stand up now, just slowly putting the mind and attention into the legs, slowly rising and standing, setting the mind and attention into the feet and into the legs to support the torso, arms, hands, and head. And looks like I should turn a light on here. So let me go ahead and do that. It's very soft light. I think that will be helpful. So we're going to do the movements of loosening the wings. Crane loosens wings, and also turn and look at the moon. So when we look at the crane loosens its wings, we see that the movement originates in the Dantian to travel up spine wave into shoulders, arms, wrist, and fingers. And this essentially is this vertical plane, also manifests into that vertical plane of yang circles. When we look at the movement turning and looking, turning to look at the moon, then we have the respective horizontal plane. Dantian guides movement, guides rotation. To turn and look at the moon. So the respective horizontal plane going to my maximum range, my relaxed maximum range of motion, using the Dantian to pull the arms back. Going to the other side, letting the arms extend, and use the Dantian to initiate motion back to center, passing through center, so that arms and hands go to the other side. Let arms and hands extend comfortably, and use Dantian to initiate movement back to center, passing through to switch to the other side. So we'll work in this movement, in this posture for a minute. Note your range of motion. Keep your range of motion just relaxed. Connect the deep abdominal breathing. And slowly let your arm span, your wingspan, your range of motion slightly increase comfortably with each repetition. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, arms extending. Let your torso and the weight of your torso also be buoyant in the legs. So soft hips, soft knees, soft ankles. A little bit of a sinking motion as you engage Dantian to bring the movement back to center. So each time you engage the arms to return back to center, a little bit of a sinking motion of the Dantian and torso. Also turning the head to stretch the neck, even turning the eyes to rotate the gaze as well. Let's go ahead and bring our bodies and our minds back to center. Coming out of our high horse stance. And we're going to return back to the Dantian, beginning that undulation, abdominal muscles, the gut system, lower back, and connecting deep abdominal breathing to this place of origin for the spinal wave and for each posture. Specifically now for the crane loosens wings. Feel yourself and feel your mind and your attention and focus connected to the abdominal area, connected to the lower torso's movement and the spinal wave. Now start to let that movement animate the shoulders. Circling the shoulders, engaging scapula, engaging the latissimus dorsi. Inhaling, shoulders back, circling back. And inhale, exhaling, circling forward and down. In response to the lower Dantian. letting the movement now reach the elbows, animating elbows, influenced by the Dantian and spinal wave. Relaxing wrists and hands and fingers. Also engaging the leg bows, feeling soft and buoyant in the legs, soft hips, knees, ankles. Now engaging the hands and fingers so that when the arms pull back, the palms face up. Releasing shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. Pulling hands in, turning palms to face up as the hands retracting in. Exhaling, sinking. Inhaling, abdomen, chest, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. Maintaining smooth connection between all of these points: abdomen, spine, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. You can see how we're still in the vertical plane, drawing this yang circle, however, manifesting arms, hands, and fingers differently, respective of Tai Chi ball and other movements like windlass. Bringing this movement to a close, incrementally decreasing range of motion, incrementally relaxing wrists, relaxing elbows, relaxing shoulders, relaxing spine, only abdomen now. And only breathing. Pausing here for a second for water or bathroom, and then going to crane shakes wings. Now we're gonna combine those planes of movement, so that vertical circle of the Dantian along with the horizontal rotation of the waist and torso. So all beginning and guided by the Dantian. So this next movement, crane shaking its wings, requires a rotation because we're alternating hands. And it also requires an undulation that gives us a extension of the hands and a movement from the spine to the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. So if you look at it in this way, if I just break down the torso movement, I have the spinal wave. I'll slightly exaggerate. I have spinal wave. Notice the buoyancy in my legs. Now I'm going to add rotation. And so the question is, do you have to wave with each arm? How does that work? What you need to do is marry the two movements, rotation and undulation of torso, meaning spine bow, chest bow, to manifest into the arms at the right timing with the rotation of the waist. So what I'll say is, I can leave it at that and we can begin the movement, or I can also say, try to guide you bit by bit of the movement. So let's try to do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rotate to the side. As we rotate to the side, we're opening chest and closing chest. And when I say chest, it's also spine. So I open chest and spine as I turn. Let's say I face you, you mirror me. I'm going to turn to the right. I relax the legs, relax spine to close spine. Rotate to my right. You can rotate to your left. I begin to open spine. I'm leaving the hands comfortably at the dantian, just for now. And so I'm at the center. I relax the legs, close spine to gravity, start to rotate, and open. And then I come back to center and close. Pass through center, rotate, open spine and chest, and close spine and chest, come back to the center and close. Pass through center, other side, open spine and chest, and close back to center, passing through center, other side. Open spine and chest at the other side, and close. Come back to the center. So you see, in a way, we're turning to the side, opening spine and chest, turning to the center, closing spine and chest. Trying to find that happy medium, marrying the two planes of movement that we spoke of earlier. And so what we need to do is figure out how we're going to extend the arms and how we're going to time the extension of how we're going to time extending the arms and connecting to the spinal wave. So before we extend the arms, we need to look at the function of the rotation that will be extending the arm. So for example, I'm turning to my right as you turn to your left. That rotation is going to be serving the function to extend the right arm. As you turn to your right, that rotation is going to be serving the function of extending the left arm. As you rotate again to your left, that movement's going to serve the function extending the right arm, so on and so forth. So it's good to start to visualize that. And it's good to start to see the pathway from the dantian through the spine, torso, shoulder, elbow, wrists, and finger. And so, similar to the way that we incrementally put together the movements, we do the same thing with this one. So, respective arm to rotation, we're going to start to animate the shoulder. So, as you turn to your left, right shoulder will animate. As you turn to your right, left shoulder will animate. Connected to the spinal wave, connected to the torso's rotation. And in a way, you're sort of animating your wings, if you will. This might be a better view with the light the way that it is. So I'll say the important thing to keep the movement consistent and accurate, the important thing is that each time you pass through center, you are beginning to open the spine. You're beginning to open the spine. When you get to the side, you close the spine. As you pass through center, you open the spine. You're essentially drawing a figure 8. So if you can see the figure 8 there, right? Because remember, we're marrying two planes of movement. If you can put that together, then you can let the movement smoothly animate the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and finger. So let's try to do that. As I open the spine, remember that goes to the shoulder. I'm going to animate shoulder and elbow. Passing through center, beginning to open the spine, animating shoulder and elbow, respective shoulder and elbow. Animating spinal wave, shoulder and elbow. Drawing figure 8, opening spine, passing through center, shoulder and elbow. And what you want to essentially do is connect smoothly connect and relax into the natural intuitive flow of the movement. Now you want to let the movement continue to the wrists so that you're animating shoulder, elbow, and wrists. Simply following the natural momentum of the movement. And you're aiming to extend the hands in front of you. So that's really where you want to extend the hands. So let's say I'm sort of maybe softball pitching, lower end, sort of softball pitching to you, respective of you standing in front of me. Now, as we animate the whole arm, we can feel the movement express itself from dantian through the spine, shoulder, elbow, wrists, and finger. As the arms extend and find their natural flow, find the balance so that the arms are moving in opposite directions in connection with the dantian and with the dantian's movement as you marry those two planes of motion. And so simply because as you rotate, one shoulder retracts and one shoulder extends, simply because of that, one arm will retract while the other arm extends. If you can trace the movement down to your feet and feel the coiling motion coming up from the ground into the hips and finally into the fingers, then you have successfully integrated all bows for a full body movement. Let's just go ahead and slowly bring that movement incrementally back to the center. Bringing that movement to a close. Bringing the mind back to the dantian. Arms relaxed at the side. Bringing the heart rate down if needed. With deep abdominal breathing, bringing the lung rate down. Few breath cycles to relax the arms and hands, relax the shoulders, relax the mind, and bring it back into Dantian. We'll close off the session for today there. And see you next time.